Hello, and welcome back to Traveling McGee. Today I am back in the great state of New York, and I am in the little city of Corning, New York, and I'm getting ready to check out a pretty cool place, an interesting museum, I think. I'm getting ready to walk around the Corning Museum of Glass. So let's go. So this museum has been around for quite some time, and they have a lot of interactive exhibits here. You can make your own glass, you can blow your own glass, and they have demonstrations, and they have probably the world's largest collection of glass artifacts and glass items, so it's a really cool museum. And I am here on a Tuesday, and it's not too crowded. It's a beautiful day, actually. There is an entrance fee. I believe it's about $27, and that gets you into the museum and lets you check out some of the free exhibits that they have and some of the free live demonstrations, so that's pretty cool. And there is quite a bit to see here, so let's go inside and check it out. Sorry, let's see what this looks like. Upside down.
Welcome to our innovation shop. This is Helen. She's going to be our gaffer. Let's give our gaffer a nice round of applause to get her going. All right. Now, when she gathers that glass out, it does look orange, right? It's a colorless glass that's just glowing because it's so hot. When we have a colorless material, we can add whatever color we have on hand. Pretty fast method is to roll through these crushed pieces of colored glass. It's called frit. And there's about 200 different choices of frit. We do any blowing. Well, here we go. Breath of air trapped into the pipe. This introduces the pressure that we need. And that was really, really subtle. Let me catch that. That tiny little expansion was the air pressure pushing into that glass, creating a bubble, probably the size of a golf ball, but a little bit smaller than that. And especially as it turns that blowpipe seamlessly, it's muscle memory. And that takes a while to really develop and refine. Oh, what material this pad is. I'm squirting a little water on there. Newspaper. It's folded up layers of newspaper. I know it seems absurd, but it works really well. We have two of them up here. This one's been used for a little more than a week, and it begins to fray and fall apart, so we got a new one on deck. Now, it's made out of about 7 or 8 sheets of paper, stacked together and folded over so many times which means it's really insulated. It doesn't burn our hands as we're using it. Anyway, just using the blades to pinch the lines. So instead of straight lines, we're going to end up with a diamond pattern on the surface. It's a fun technique, but it's a tricky one to do properly to make those equidistant snips as the glass is slumping constantly. Lots of practice goes into that. This oven is a little hotter than the melting furnace. We have it set to just about 2150 Fahrenheit. And yes, I see lots of people point at the screens when we use that. There's no camera in the oven. I know it seems like it because it's such a close-up shot, but the camera looks through a small window. I'm going to get back into that here in a moment. Actually, right now, she goes to use it again. That window is a very special type of glass. Can anybody here tell me the main ingredient to glass? What's it made of? Silica. Yep, silica sand, soda ash, and limestone are the three main ingredients that melt into soda lime glass. That reheat the glass. When she uses that oven, she can go deeper in it or remain a little bit further out to kind of guide the heat in whatever spot that she wants to continue forming. Especially air pressure, when we blow through the pipe, it's going to follow the path of least resistance. So wherever the glass is the hottest and softest, that's where it moves the most. And we can see now, right? So that beautiful orange glow. It's one thing with this transparent blue, it shows that heat transition really, really nicely. So I'm standing by, I'll see if she wants anything for the very bottom of this. The top of the picture is the part right now that's attached to the blowpipe. So it's common glass blowing to finalize the bottom half of a form, and then we work on the top. So the tip of the bubble, she'll now use the jacks to create a sort of flare to the top side. And I help her out with a wooden paddle. That is a nice foot. Nice sharp edge on that. That is not an easy thing to do. Ready for punting? The next step is to now flip that whole thing around. We have the bottom done. To work on the top requires transferring that piece over to a finishing rod. What I'm making is called a punty. We use just a little bit of glass on the end of this rod. This will stick to the foot. We want this to attach to the foot, but not permanently. So a lot of that has to do with the shape that I'm making for the punty, as well as the temperature. I'll take a moment and kind of roll this to a shape on our Marver. This is a steel table. Steel is a really good heat sink. It's absorbing heat from the punty, and I can actually feel the glass starting to stiffen slightly. And get it to the point where I know it's a pretty good temperature. I'll bring it over to Helen and let her attach it to the foot. It's a good time to talk about the stainless steel that our pipes are made from. Not a good conductor of heat for a metal. Can everybody see the dark and tarnished sections? We don't grab there. That part is very, very hot, but stainless does not transfer heat all the way up. Glass blowers will do this U-shaped cut. It just gives us a high and a low side, so it enhances the pour spout. Either way, easy to gut through, but you do have to work fast. You gotta be efficient. Especially when the glass gets thinner like this. Really does stiffen very quickly. Notice how when she gets up to the oven, she goes deep inside this oven just for a few moments. That's called a flash. This is really important. You could work on a piece for 8 hours as long as you know how to maintain enough temperature through the whole thing. If you neglect to keep the bottom side warm enough, the top could be glowing bright orange, but that bottom can crack if you let it stay away from the heat just too long. The final step for anything when we're done making it is a slow cooling process. That's called annealing. It takes about 8 hours for a piece like this, so we're going to come back to that in a moment. A little more opening to the neck and the lip. Glass makers, 2,000 years ago, were the first glass blowers. First glass makers go back to Mesopotamia, and that's about 3,500 years ago. But glass blowing origins date back to ancient Rome, around 50 BC. And many of the ancient Roman-style pieces have handles with grooves and a flat profile. So there's multiple ways you could achieve that, but what we most commonly do nowadays is roll out a little bit of glass into a cylinder, using this Marver one more time. And then with a pair of tweezers, I'll press right into the cylinder, which puts grooves into it, and it flattens it against the table. Now, 2,000 years ago, they didn't have the setup that we have, obviously. These ovens with electric ovens and gas-fueled furnaces, but wood-fired. With a wood-fired oven, you can get it to 2,000 degrees and do pretty much everything you're watching Helen do. Now, like I did with the gather for the foot, I get very close, but then I let her grab a hold, and I just support the weight of this rod. So she tags it down, she crimps, stretches and cuts through, and then watch this next move. She flips it around and she uses rotation and gravity. Grabs the tip, scrolls it, and this is that magical moment. Voila. What do you think? Obviously not her first handle. A lot can go wrong right there. I mentioned the term muscle memory. I use that term in every demonstration I talk about because it's really true. She uses a little bit of water, so this will create tiny little cracks. And just a nice little sharp tap should be enough to do it. Pops right off. Beautifully done. And I know that it seems like it's something you can grab a hold of right now because we're seeing the true blue. But it is, I guarantee you, around 1,000 degrees, give or take. A little fire polish to the sharp edge that's on the bottom there. I think you're good, yep. And here's our last look at a beautiful diamond pattern, cobalt blue pitcher. Let's give it up for Helen one more time. Excellent job.
I'll take two. That was certainly quite an interesting tour of the Corning Glass Museum. Apologize for not being able to talk while I was in the museum. There was just a lot of people around and I didn't want to be awkward and make it weird for everybody else. But as you saw, there are different rooms and locations in the museum that feature different types of glass making. Part of the museum focuses on glass artifacts from way back in history, ancient Greek times. It's pretty incredible the amount of glass that they have there and different types of artifacts. And then they kind of transition into the start of glass making and why it began and how glass is made. And the other part of the museum kind of talks about the contributions of glass in today's production, today's modern times, when it comes to, you know, telescopes and car windshields and surgical equipment. And it's just fascinating. And I didn't even really, you know, you just don't think about how much glass really plays into our daily lives, but it's pretty incredible all the things that I was able to learn there. But again, just a couple quick facts about the museum. It was developed in 1951, based out of Corning. This was a hub. Corning, by the way, is known as Crystal City, and this was a hub at one time for glass making. There were several different types of glass makers here. Just incredible history here just in this little town. The museum itself houses over 50,000 different types of glass artifacts. It is the largest glass-themed or glass-based museum in the world. The museum is open every day, all year round. And I misspoke earlier, it's $25 to get in. There is a discount for military. Children under the age of 17 are free, so I thought that was pretty cool. The museum does showcase a beautiful gift shop. There is glass there made by the staff at the museum, as well as local glass blowers or gaffers, which I learned that term today. The museum also has a small cafe where you can order snacks, sandwiches, pizza, pasta. They have noodle bowls. Grab a quick drink. It's really cool. It's a great little cafe. But once you tour the museum, you can cross the river, the Chemung River, which runs right through Corning here. You can cross over the river and actually explore the town of Corning, which is what I'm getting ready to do right now. But I'll take a couple little videos of the main street. A lot of really cool places to shop and eat. There's a lot of really nice restaurants here on the main strip. Corning, New York is just a beautiful place. It's a beautiful little town. They have tons of different festivals. They have Glass Fest once a year, which is this huge festival. All things glass. They shut down the main strip and all the shops open up. It's a really cool community event. But yeah, anyway, if you're ever in the Corning, New York area, I highly recommend that you check out Corning Museum of Glass and come over here to the town and explore. And I hope everybody enjoyed this small little tour once again. Thank you for tuning back in to Traveling McGee, and I will see everybody on the next video. Take care.